Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you for coming in. Hey, you guys. All righty. Let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here. Um, If you guys, as you are coming in, if you guys would please like, please share, please comment and subscribe. I am on my way to 1,000 subscribers here on the YouTube. And so I appreciate your likes. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your subscribing as well. Thank you guys for being here. I know it's been a minute. Um, I've been really, really busy, but I have been thinking about you guys. And so I am wanting to talk to you all today about your nonprofit organization. Um, Over the last couple of days, I've been sharing some case studies about the nonprofit space and about what it looks like when an organization is not quite ready to start their nonprofit organizations. I know everyone wants to start your nonprofit organization. You want to get into doing the program and really getting your hands dirty, doing the work of your passion, right? I get it. I get it. I get it. However, we want to make sure that you are really truly ready to start your nonprofit. For those of you all who are new to me, my name is Jennifer. I am your nonprofit expert and strategist, over 38 years of experience. Um, Helping organizations put together plans and strategies, systems, and tools to really ensure that your organization is positioned and ready to start. All right. So that's the big question that I have for those of you today. Are you truly ready to start your nonprofit organization? Put ready in the chat. Put ready in the chat. I want to make sure that you all are ready, not just to start your nonprofit organizations, but that you are ready to fund it, that you are ready to sustain it, that you are ready to grow it, right? For sustainability. I want to make sure that you are ready to start more than just your program. All right. As you guys hear me say all the time, your nonprofit is not your program. Your nonprofit is not your program. And I know that you're passionate. I know that you've got a big heart. I know that you want to make a difference, right? But passion alone is not enough to build a sustainable and fundable nonprofit. Hear what I said. Your passion alone is not what makes your nonprofit fundable. What does fundable mean? Fundable means attractive to the donor. Fundable means a good investment, right? Fundable means that you have the ability to be clear, to educate, to inspire the people who are not in your program, right? So I just want to make sure that those of you that make the decision to start your nonprofit, that you are ready to build it for sustainability and for funding. Today, I want to walk you through some critical mistakes that nonprofit leaders make when they skip essential steps of readiness. Okay. This is what it looks like when people skip essential steps to readiness and exactly how you can avoid the the challenges or the missteps that you have created. If you can imagine, you're building a house, and within the house, you have not laid a firm foundation. You just start building. You just start laying and pouring over dirt. You start putting up stakes and you start laying walls and you start putting together the windows because you want to get into the house, right? But without the firm foundation of the house, then the house won't fall. The house will be in jeopardy of falling, and that's what happens when you start your nonprofit organization without laying a foundation. Okay. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. Making sure that you are ready. That means that you are laying the foundation for your sustainability. Why is that important? Let me tell you, it breaks my heart when people say to me, Jen, I started my nonprofit, but I'm funding everything out of my pocket. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but now I'm stuck. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but we weren't able to get funding. And so now we have to stop. Why is that? Because you did not lay a foundation, because there were critical things that you needed to have in place before you started that program, before you filed that 1023. And I know that what I talk about is not mentioned a lot out here. And that's because a lot of people that talk from the nonprofit space have never really run a nonprofit. Now, they may have a job of grant writer, they may have a job of fundraiser, right? So they know that job. Have you guys ever had a job? You know your job, but you don't know the jobs of everything else, right? You don't know the jobs of the other positions in the company. You know your job. What I want to give you is a full picture of your job as the CEO, your job as the executive director. That means you are overseeing. That means you are managing. That means that you are planning for the funding, the communications, the partnership developments. All of those things is what's going to help ensure that your organization not only is ready to begin your program, but that you have the funding necessary, that you have the budget necessary, that you have the communications necessary to reach the people that would support it. Your nonprofit is not only about your program, it's about much more than that. All right. I want to thank all of you again for following me here on my YouTube. I really appreciate those of you that are commenting, those of you that are liking, and obviously those of you that subscribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am on my way to 1,000 subscribers. And so your subscription really helps me to reach that goal. And so I want to again say thank you, thank you, thank you for those of you that are commenting, for those of you that are engaging, and for those of you that are liking. All right. Please share this as well if there's something that I say that resonates with you. Okay. Here we go. The first thing I want you guys to think about is this: starting a nonprofit is not just filing the 1023 form and hoping for the best. Put hoping for the best in the chat, right? Jen, I want to start my nonprofit and I hope I get a grant. Jen, I want to start my nonprofit and I hope I get donors. Jen, I want to start my nonprofit and I hope I get sponsors. Jen, I want to start my nonprofit and I hope, right, I get support. That is not how you start your nonprofit. You are starting a business, and the IRS, the funders, and even your community are expecting you to operate like a business. I'm going to say that again for the people in the bushes. You are starting a business. The IRS, your funders, and your community are expecting you to operate like a business. Are you following what I'm saying? You are not starting a program. You are starting a business. I'm going to say that again. You are not starting a program. You are starting a business. And the IRS, your donors and your funders expect you to run it like a business. Okay? It's amazing to me. Organizations will spend thousands on incorporating the IRS fees, the website, the program, but cannot get a single donor, can't grow, raise enough funds to sustain themselves. You struggle to attract boards, or worse, put random people on paper just to meet the minimum requirement, right? Jen, I want to start my nonprofit. I need people to be on my board, right? And because you're trying to get that piece of paper, you'll put your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat, your fish on the board because you want to provide the minimum required to get the piece of paper. But that piece of paper is not your nonprofit. And so, what happens when you skip the phase of readiness? What happens when you skip the readiness phase? You spend a lot of money on program. You're paying for everything out of your pocket. You got the website. You paid the IRS the 275. You are paying for the program. You're paying for the materials and the supplies for the program. You can barely get your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat, your fish to help you as board members, and now you find it difficult to get funding. Funders will reject your application. Why? Because your organization has no history, your organization has no plan for sustainability or capacity. Did you know over 50% of nonprofits, over 50% of nonprofits, I'm going to say that again for the people in the bushes, because I want you to know the organizations that are struggling, that's how they set it up. They started their nonprofit without being ready, right? Readiness is not the piece of paper. Over 50% of nonprofits that start without preparation will struggle significantly or close their doors within the first 3 to 5 years. They don't have any money. They don't have any supporters. They're funding everything out of their own pocket. Now they've run out of money, right? They've exhausted all of their own funds and they don't have any plan for sustainability. Who's going to carry it on, right? Over 50% of nonprofits start without preparation, right? What is preparation? Jen, I don't know who my funders are. Jen, I don't know what to say to my donors. Jen, I don't know how to market my organization. Jen, I don't know what to say. Jen, I don't have a budget for my program or my operations. Jen, I don't have a fundraising plan. Jen, I have people on my board, but they don't know what to do. How do we start a business without preparation of how to run it? How do we start a business and expect that that business is going to be attractive to the donor, attractive to the funder, attractive to the supporter? I don't have a budget, Jen. I don't have a board, Jen. I don't have any help, Jen. I'm paying for everything out of my own pocket. But you want a donor and a funder to what? Invest in your business? It's not practical. Now, I come here every day. Those of you that follow me on my other social media pages, thank you for following, by the way. Um, I come here to YouTube because I really want to be able to share with you the opportunity that you have. The opportunity that you have to not fall into the 50%, right? The 50% that started their nonprofit organization based upon their passion. But your nonprofit is not a business that's based on passion. It's not your passionate. I know you have a big heart. I know you want to make a difference. I know you want to jump right into the program, but passion alone is not enough to build a sustainable or fundable nonprofit. All right. What makes your nonprofit fundable? What makes your nonprofit attractive to the donor, to the funder, to the supporter, to the contributor, to the sponsor, to the board member, to the person that would want to align themselves with their money to what you do? What is it about what you do that resonates with them? And remembering that your donors, your funders, your partners, your supporters, your contributors, they're not in your program. They're not a part of your passion, right? So you've got to be able to answer, you've got to be able to address, you've got to be able to attract, you've got to be able to communicate with funders, with donors, and even the IRS. The readiness that you have to be able to clarify, to demonstrate, to articulate, what is it? What do they want to know? Do you know what your problem and solution are clearly? Do you know your problem and your solution clearly? Your solution is not your passion. Your solution is not the activities, right? Solution says problem has been solved. This is what it looks like after the problem has been solved, not your activities. And this is one of the things that I find very frustrating is that many people believe that your program is your activities. Your program or your nonprofit rather is your activities. Your nonprofit is what you do. No, your nonprofit is based upon the result of what you do, right? The result, the outcome, the transformation shows that your program works. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Are you hearing what I'm saying? They are also going to want to know, are your programs structured? Put structured in the chat. Are your programs structured? Are your programs structured for measurable impact? Not are your programs structured to do what you want to do. No, the donor, the funder, the supporter wants to have confidence that you know how to get to, that you know how to measure, that you know how to evaluate impact. Why is that important to them? That's important to them because they want to make sure that you know how to get to success. You know how to get to result. You know how to get to the transformation. That's what they want to know because you're using their money to do it, right? So you have the problem. And then you have the program. What's the program? The program is a group of activities that are intentionally structured to produce result. That means they come into your program this way. The program is introduced and implemented. And this is what they look like when they leave. That's what they're funding. They're funding the result. They're funding the problem solved. They're funding the outcome. When you're able to talk about, when you're able to clarify, when you're able to describe what your impact is and why it's important. Why is your impact important? Why is this program important? You're using the donor's money, you're using the funder's money, you're using the contributor's money. They want to know, what do I get with my money? It's not your passion. It's not your nonprofit. It's not your program. It's the impact. That's our business. We are in the business of impact. We are in the business of meeting need. We are in the business of solving problem. We are in the business of transformation. There is a problem, our program is introduced, and this is the solution. This is what it looks like when we have been successful. Do you have the right people on the board? Right? There is a role, there is a responsibility that the board has. And so you, as the organization, are making sure that you have the right people on the board. For many of you, you just wanted to get the piece of paper, right? Jen, I want to start my nonprofit. I gotta get the EIN number. And then I got to go fill out the 1023, and then I got to get something called bylaws. I don't really know what those bylaws are. And then I've got to get articles of incorporation. I really don't know what those are either, but I just need to get the bare minimum so that I can start this program. The bare minimum, Jen, the bare minimum. But now I've got people on the board and they can't help me, right? Now, what does that say to a funder? That says you don't even know how to build a team. You got people on your board who cannot help you sustain and maintain this organization. How do I know then that you know how to run a program that you want us to fund if you can't even put right people on your board? Now, I know. The people who tell you to go out here and get your nonprofit. Just put some names down. Just put some names down, right? Just put some names down. You can change them later. You can change them later. But when they ask you about your board, well, my board's not working. My board's not functioning. I'm doing everything by myself. What does that say to the donor and the funder? It says that you don't know how to manage your business. Now, these things that I'm telling you are in the grant application. What I'm saying to you is in the grant application. For those of you that said, Jen, I want to start my nonprofit because I heard I could get a grant. Jen, I heard I could get a grant if I start my nonprofit. I heard I could get a grant, Jen, if I start my nonprofit. Well, I'm telling you what the grant funder is going to want to know. I'm telling you what the grant funder is going to want to know. All right? Are y'all with me? Listen, thank you guys so very much for being here. Please like, please comment, please share. I bring information to this space, which I hope is helpful to you. I bring information to this space to help the majority of those of you that are um, in jeopardy of falling into that 50% of organizations that are not sustainable. And I hope that you not only can learn from what I'm speaking about, but that it resonates with you in a way that gives you clarity about how your nonprofit can be sustainable, can be competitive, can be one of those that the donor and the funder want to see continue. All right. And it's beyond your passion. Okay. Let's keep going. One of the things that you want to also examine when you are thinking about your readiness is, where does your money come from? Where does your revenue come from? Where is the money going to come from to cover the expenses of this program? I can tell you a number of people who started their nonprofit and not even factored in the cost. What's it going to cost to run this nonprofit? Based upon what it's going to cost to run the nonprofit, where is money going to come from to cover that cost? And for many people who did not factor that in, what does that look like? That looks like you were paying for everything out of your own pocket. That looks like you are paying for everything out of your own pocket. That means you don't have any donors, you don't have any supporters, you're having difficulty getting grants. And so, what does that say to the funder? That says that you don't have the experience in managing money, their money, right? So knowing what your budget is, knowing and expecting what the cost is just the foundation. Again, it's like you're building a house. You build a house without laying a firm foundation, and that house is not sustainable. So now we've built a nonprofit. We don't know how much it's going to cost to run it. We don't know where money is going to come from to cover those expenses. Now you're paying for everything out of your own pocket, but you're wanting other donors and funders and supporters to trust you with their money when how you're running the organization is not sustainable. Are y'all understanding what I'm saying? Am I making sense? I just want to make sure that you're ready, right? And I know that there's a thought of, well, Jen, I just want to start my nonprofit. I just can't wait. I can't wait, Jen. I just want to start my nonprofit. I just want to get in and start doing the work. I get it. I get it. Did you hear what I said? I get it. However, your nonprofit is not just the program. The program is an expense. There has to be money planned for, strategized for, sought to cover those expenses, right? So when you are thinking about starting your nonprofit, where does money come from? And because many people don't understand the financials of the nonprofit, because you hear the word nonprofit and you think, oh my gosh, Jen, I'm not supposed to have any money. Jen, I'm a nonprofit. We don't have any money. Jen, I'm a nonprofit. Everything is free. Jen, I'm a nonprofit. Everybody's a volunteer. Jen, I'm a nonprofit. I'm a nonprofit. No, you are a business. You are a business that just happens to be not for profit. That's what that means, not for profit. That does not mean no money, it just means not for profit. All right. Are you ready for compliance? Are you ready for reporting? Are you ready for accountability? I have a nonprofit readiness assessment. I have a nonprofit readiness assessment that I created just to make sure that people understood what they need in the essential areas, in the essential areas of starting your nonprofit organization, right? It is designed to be a step by step to make sure that you're not just starting a nonprofit, but that you're building one that can last. That you're not just starting a nonprofit, but that you are building one that can last. All right. So, my nonprofit readiness assessment, I'm going to put, if you're interested in learning more about it, I'm going to put the information in the comments or in the description here on my YouTube, and hopefully you'll get some information about that. All right, if that'll be helpful to you. Now we're going to talk about how your organization performs. Right? How organizations perform. Put perform in the chat. How your organization performs when you're ready, when you are ready to file that piece of paper, when you are ready to get board members, when you are ready to put together your budget, when you are ready to put up the website, even. Organizations that go through this process are 3 times more likely to secure funding their first year. Did you hear what I said? Organizations that follow the proper steps to starting are 3 times more likely to secure funding for their nonprofits the first year. You're able to attract board members who are also able to help you raise money when you start properly. You're able to have more trusted funders, right? The funders trust you more. They are wanting to be more connected to you. Why? Because you are organized and clear. Listen, I don't know if many of you have started your nonprofit and you just feel like you're all over the place, right? Jen, I don't know which way is up. I don't know which way is down. Jen, I just got all these things that I'm doing by myself, and I'm not doing them all well. I'm doing everything by myself and everything is in chaos. The program you are really clear about, but the running of the nonprofit. No, Jen, we don't have any donors. No, we don't have any funders. Jen, no, we don't have a social media. No, Jen, we're not communicating with our funders. No, Jen, we don't have a budget. No, Jim, we don't have a strategy to raise money. That means things are not clear. That means your business is not organized. Your program may be organized, but your program is not the nonprofit. Did you what I said? Your program is not what you started. Okay? Your program is not what you started. And so when you are able to lay your foundation more clearly, establishing the things that are necessary within the organization or within the nonprofit, you are more likely to build trust and credibility with the donors, with the funders, with the supporters. All right. Let me tell you a little bit about what's in the readiness assessment. Okay. Starting a nonprofit without preparation, again, is like building a house without a blueprint. It's like building a house with no blueprint. You just decide, I want to build a house. I don't have a blueprint. I don't have any measurements. I don't know what I need to build a house, but I just want to build a house. And so many of you rush to file your 501c3 without evaluating if you're really ready. Now, let me tell you this truth. It's easier and quicker to be ready to build a blueprint for your business than it is to start, have to stop, and then have to start over. How many of you guys have done that? Jen, I started my nonprofit, but we had to change it. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but we had to stop and then redo it again. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but then we got stuck and then I didn't do anything with it for a long time. And then I decided, okay, I'm ready to do it again, but I don't know where to start. That means that you started building your house without a blueprint. And those that are rushing to start their nonprofit business without knowing what is involved in running the business, you're wasting time and you're wasting money. You're wasting time and you're wasting money. I'm going to say it again. You're wasting time and you're wasting money. All right. The IRS 1023 form is more than just paperwork. It reflects your nonprofit's capacity to sustain itself. Did you know that that 1023 form asks about your business structure? Now, most of you that started your nonprofit organization, many of you have never even seen that 1023 form. You might have gotten LegalZoom to fill it out. You might have gotten someone else to fill it out. So you may not even know what the 1023 form says. But the 1023 form speaks about your business and your business structure. Why? Because the 1023 form is the application for your business to be structured as or to be considered not for profit. So, of course, it's asking about your business structure. Of course, it's asking about how you're setting up your business because that's what the 1023 form is. The 1023 form says, I would like my business to be recognized as not for profit. It's your business. It's your business's capacity to sustain itself. That's money, right? That's money. That you have the ability to finance, to fund, to sustain, to continue the nonprofit and to do it effectively. The only reason we go to the IRS has to do with money, has to do with money coming into the business. But see, for many people, I didn't know, Jen. I didn't know it was a business. I didn't know that's what that meant. I didn't know. And because of your lack of knowledge, now again, you're wasting time. Now you've started the nonprofit. You didn't know what you didn't know. You didn't know what you should know. And now you're stuck and need to start all over. Now you're stuck and I don't know what to do next. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? So I created my nonprofit readiness assessment, right? Which covers your mission, your vision, and your programs, right? Why is that important? Because this is your marketing. You are marketing. Why is your vision important? You're marketing. Why does your mission matter? You're marketing what makes your program different than the program down the street. Your ability to articulate and to clarify, your ability to show and share who? The people who are not in it. The people who are in your program are not your donors, are not your funders, are not your supporters. So, what is it that you say to the donor, to the funder, to the supporter, to the contributor about why and how they should support your organization? You're saying, listen, we have a vision. We have a vision of ensuring that there are no longer any homeless veterans on the street. We have a vision that that veterans who have served our community are placed in stable, independent living, that they're able to support themselves, and that they're able to sustain themselves and their family. That's our vision. Our vision is accomplished through the work that we do of our program. So we know how to what? Achieve our vision. That's what our program is. That's what impact looks like. Impact looks like vision achieved, mission achieved. But if you don't know what your mission is, and if you don't know how to accomplish the mission, then how can we tell, how can we show, how can we convey, how can we communicate to the donor and the funder why they should support it? Am I making sense? Then if all you're interested in is starting your program, that's okay. But it is through your donor support. It is through their connection and their concern and their interest in the vision, in the mission of the organization that's going to compel, that's going to excite, that's going to inform, that's going to inspire them to donate. What are they donating to? They're donating to your ability and your capacity to accomplish the mission. They're not donating to your passion. They're not donating because you're a nonprofit. No, they're donating, they're contributing, they're connecting, they're wanting to be a supporter and an investor in your ability to achieve, accomplish the mission. But if you don't know what your mission is, you know what you want to do. What you want to do is not your mission. What you want to do is not your mission. What you want to do is activity. What is your mission? This is who we serve. This is how we serve them. And this is what result looks like. Many of you have statements about what you want to do, and you're calling that a mission statement. And it's not. Okay. Is it all right if I tell you the truth? Is it okay if I tell you the truth? I know that you guys really want to start these programs. I know that you are passionate. I know that you are committed. You might even have the idea of, Jen, if I start my nonprofit, I can get a grant. If I start my nonprofit, Jen, funding is just going to come out of the sky. Jen, if I start my nonprofit, people are just going to start becoming donors and funders because I have a nonprofit. And that's not true. Your nonprofit status, right? When your 1023 form has been approved, when your 1023 form has been approved, let me say that again. When your 1023 application has been approved. What is the application? The application says, I want my business to be recognized as a nonprofit. That's all that 1023 form says. That 1023 form says nothing about your program. It does not state that you started a nonprofit. It only states that your application for your business to be recognized as a not for profit has been approved. That's that letter you got in the mail. Jen, I got my nonprofit. I got my nonprofit, Jen. No, that letter just says your business is determined to be tax exempt. Your application for your business to be recognized as tax exempt has been approved. That's all that says. It does not say you started a nonprofit. It does not say anything about your program. It says you now are determined to be recognized as not for profit. Can we be clear about that? Is that all right? Because I don't know if that's being explained properly out here on these streets. Because the people who come to me waving this piece of paper, I got a nonprofit, I got a nonprofit. This is not a nonprofit. This is not a nonprofit. This is not a nonprofit. This says your business is now recognized as a nonprofit. It does not say you started one. It does not say that you are ready for funding because you have a piece of paper. Am I being clear? Am I being clear? Now, listen, this is only for the people who say, Jen, I need real information because I'm tired of these people lying to me. I'm tired of these people telling me that all I got to do is be a nonprofit and I can get a grant. I done paid the IRS, I done bought a website, and I don't understand why I don't have any funding. I don't understand why, Jen, I'm having such a hard time finding board members. I don't understand why I'm having such a hard time getting the revenue I need. That's because you did not start properly. Now, that's the good news. That's not even bad news. That's the good news, honey. That's the good news. The good news is I know now with Jen's readiness assessment what I need to do. I now know what information I need to have in place. I now know what the donor and the funder and the contributor are going to want to know about my nonprofit organization before they make the decision or the consideration to give to my organization. This is all good news, okay? I don't want anybody to feel any kind of way I want everyone to feel inspired. I want everyone to feel motivated. Okay. By now, I know. Now I know. Now I know. And so now you can do what the donor and the funder and the supporter need for you to do so that you can give them what they need before they make a decision to give, right? Before they make a decision to give, before they make a decision to give. All right. Thank you guys for liking. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all for subscribing as well. I really appreciate you. My nonprofit readiness assessment covers your mission, your vision, and your programs. Now, what is a program? A program is more than your activities, not just your activities, right? Your program, by definition, are activities that are strategically designed for a particular result. So your program includes who are we serving, how are we serving them, what are their needs, and what does it look like when their needs are met. That technically is a part of your program, not just what you want to do. Jen, we have a mentoring program. Jen, we have a program where we help single moms. Jen, we have a financial literacy program, right? Where we teach budgeting. We teach investment, right? We teach job readiness. Those activities that you do by themselves is not a program. I'm so happy that I get to bring you the truth. Okay. I'm so happy I get to bring you the truth because many of you think, Jen, I am my nonprofit. This is my program. But we've got to be able to show and share to the funder what is the result of your program. Your program is not just what you do, your program also includes what does it look like when your program works? How do you know that your program works? That's a part of the program is assessing how do we prove that it works? How do we describe that it worked? How do we create the activities that are strategically and intentionally designed to prove that what we've invested in the program activities work? Why is that important? Because your donors, your funders, your supporters, your contributors are supporting the fact that your program works, not your program activities. And there is a misunderstanding of what is a program. A program is not just activities. Did you hear what I said? A program is not just activities. If the program was just activities, why does the grant funder ask about impact? Why is there a program evaluation? If the program is nothing but activities, what you want to do, then what's the point of the program evaluation? Are you following what I'm saying? I just want you all to be informed. I just want you to be ready. I want you to come out of the gate ready. I want you to have everything that you need at your fingertips so that when you start your nonprofit organization, you know what you're doing and you're able to describe, you're able to clarify, you're able to discuss what you're doing with the people who are not in it. Your donors, your funders, your partners, your supporters, your contributors, they're not in your program. So you've got to be able to convey, you've got to be able to articulate, you've got to be able to clarify to them why your program should matter to them. I'm going to say that again. You've got to be able to describe, you've got to be able to speak about why this program matters to the community and what is it about what you do that you want to connect, to interest, to inspire the people who are not in it. They're not giving you money because you are a nonprofit. If that were the case, why do we need a budget? Why do we need to fundraise if all I got to do is be a nonprofit? If all I have to be is a nonprofit and people will give me money, if all I have to be is a nonprofit, well, then why is it that more than 50% of organizations don't have money? They're a nonprofit because it's more to it. Now, a lot of these people, and I don't want to be disparaging, have never worked in a nonprofit, have never run a nonprofit, have never had to put together the nonprofit. On your job, when you walk into your job, right? How many of you guys have a job? You walk into your job and everything is already laid out on your job, right? The policies, the procedures, the budget, the templates, the tools, the marketing, the finance, everything is already done. They've laid those policies, they've laid those procedures, they've laid the foundation, they know what it costs, they know who should be on the team, they got the job descriptions already laid out, they know what positions are critical, they know how they're going to market. All of that has already been laid out when you walk into the job. So when you are starting your nonprofit organization, you are the person, you and your board, that is laying out those foundations. You're laying out what's the budget. You're laying out who's on the board. You're laying out what skills and skill sets are we needing in our on our team. You're laying that out of how the organization is going to be marketed. What is the funding responsibility? How are we going to budget month to month? That's your job. That's the business. That's the nonprofit work. That's not the program work. But if you start your nonprofit only focused on the program, then you've not laid out the foundation of the business. You've not laid the path for the business to be successful. Am I helping somebody? Am I being clear? Because this is what Uncle Google and cousin Chat doesn't tell you. They tell you start your nonprofit, get your 50, get your EIN, go and get your name registered at the state, get your board, get your business bank account. But they've missed out on all of this. All of this they didn't tell you to do. Am I right or no? They didn't tell you to do all. They didn't tell you to put together the budget. They didn't tell you how to, put together the skill sets needed for your board. They didn't tell you any of that. So now you walk into the nonprofit without that groundwork being set. Now you don't have any information to give to your board. Now you don't know how much money you need to raise. Now you don't know where money is coming from. Now you don't have a budget. Well, how is this thing sustainable? I know, guys. I know. I know. I know I talk a lot about stuff that most people don't talk about. And that is from my experience of running nonprofits day to day. It was my full time job. It was my full time job to run nonprofits. None of them were mine. It was my full time job to be the executive director, to run the nonprofit, not just run the program. Your job is not running the program. Your job is running the nonprofit, the marketing, the finance, the board, the community. It's a lot. And most people, once they get into it, realize how much it goes into running the nonprofit. Set aside the program. Now you're overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, Jen, I didn't know it was going to be this much. I didn't know. I didn't know, Jen. I didn't know. Oh my God, I'm exhausted. You didn't factor in the time. You didn't factor in what experience you were going to need, what resource or information you were going to need, and now you're overwhelmed. Now you're overwhelmed and you're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea it was going to take this much. I did not know that it was going to require this much. Am I right or no? Am I right or no? So now you've started the nonprofit and you're stuck. You started the nonprofit and I don't know what to do to get unstuck. Why? Because we did not lay this groundwork first. Y'all, if you follow the steps work. For those of you that want to skip steps, right? You want to skip steps, you want to just start doing your program. I understand. I understand. But it's not sustainable. Did you hear what I said? I just want you to have a nonprofit that's sustainable. I just want you to be able to have an organization where you are able to compete for funding. I want you to have an organization where your donors, your funders, your community can see and understand the value of the work that you do. But that's based on you. That's based on your readiness to lead the nonprofit and not just run a program because you are the CEO of the business. You're not the CEO of a program. You are the executive director of the business. The expectation from the IRS, the expectation from your donors, the expectation of your board is that you know how to run the business, not the program. I know you're passionate about the program, right? That's where your heart is in the program, but you're not the CEO of a program. And money is not your problem. Jim, we don't have any money. Jim, we don't have any funding. Funding is not your problem. The problem is I don't know how to raise it. The problem is I don't know what to say to get it. The problem is we don't have a budget. The problem is I don't know what fundraising is. I've never fundraised. And that's the foundation that now you've started and you spent all this money, you spent all this time, and you're smet with, I don't know. I didn't prepare. I didn't put in place. I didn't anticipate. I didn't know. That's what I get every day. I didn't know, Jen. I didn't know I needed that. I didn't know that was what I was supposed to do. I didn't know, right? In my nonprofit readiness assessment, we talk about your board. We talk about your leadership capacity. We talk about community engagement. We talk about financial preparedness. Each of these components ensures that your nonprofit is more than a legal entity. Did you hear what I said? This information ensures that your organization is more than a legal entity, but that it's a sustainable organization. What sustainable mean? That you have enough money coming in to cover your expenses. Because without that, your organization will not last. Without making sure that you have enough revenue coming into the organization, that program can't last. So outside of your program is not the legal entity. But outside of your program, you've got to put together leadership. You are the leader. You are the lid. You are the executive director. You are the founder. You are the CEO. And if you don't know, your organization cannot grow. If you don't know, your organization cannot grow. So your readiness to take the organization to where it needs to be is based upon your capacity. Are you ready to start the program or are you ready to start the nonprofit? Those are two different things. And I want to make sure that you are ready to start the nonprofit, ready to fund it, ready to grow it, ready to prove and to show within your community that your mission matters, ready to expand your impact. But you can't do that just by filing the 1023 form. Donors and funders are not going to give you money and if you don't know how to what? Run your business. It is your business. You've got to know what is the vision? What is the program? How are we achieving it? What is the board? What are the roles of the board members? What are the skill sets that we need in board members? How do we manage the funding month after month? That's your job. And if you go into it saying, I didn't know that was my job, Jen, then can you really expect your nonprofit to last? Right? This is why I come up with tools. Listen, I know that not everybody can get mentoring. I know that not everybody believes in a coach. I know that not everybody, can swing it with me. I'm a lot. I get it, right? My level of expertise and professionalism, I run nonprofits. I am a professional fundraiser. I am a grant writer. I am a nonprofit strategist. I have worked in the nonprofit field for over 38 years. My goal is to pour out to you what you need to run your nonprofit. I'm not telling you what I did and only what I did. No, I'm telling you what I taught thousands to do. That was my job, was to help 1,000 organizations nationally and internationally ensure that their organization has what it needs to be able to sustain itself. And getting that piece of paper is not all there is to it. Okay. I just want you to walk away from what I say to you and say, man, at least she told me the truth. At least she told me what I did not know and what no one else said. At least now I understand why we're stuck. I understand why we don't have funding. I understand why it's so difficult to get board members. I understand why it's so difficult to get funding. I understand now because there are things that I don't have in place. There are things that I don't have in place, right? Let me tell you what happens when you skip readiness. When you just decide to go out and get your piece of paper, right? You lack funder confidence. Your donors and funders will sit back and say, I think I want to see you guys operate for 1 or 2 years before I make a decision to give. Have anybody experienced that? Where the funder says, I need to watch you for a minute. I need to, I need to see you all do this work for a while before I make a decision to give. They're not confident. They're not confident that you were able to do what you say you're going to do with their money, right? So that's how they respond. You get poor governance. That means you get the lowest of the lower board members. You get, not to say that, putting your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat, your fish is low. But if all you're expecting is the bare minimum of, Jen, I was told I needed a board and they told me to just put somebody's name down and they didn't tell me what the board was supposed to do, right? And I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So now we've got poor governance, we've got poor leadership. That means I got board members, Jen, but they can't help me raise money. Jen, I got board members, but they're not able to help me. How did we get here? Because you did not lay the foundation of properly getting board members. That's why. That's what happened. That's what happened. Right? And now you have financial instability. Now you have financial instability. I started my nonprofit gym 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years more, but we're not able to operate. We get money every now and then. I got the Walmart grant, Jen. I got the I got one grant from the community foundation, but we don't have any donors. We don't have any funders. What does that equal to? Financial instability. Now you are facing financial instability because you did not put the things in place to know who your donors were, to know what it is that you need to say to your donors, what it is that they are interested in as it relates to your organization and funding. It's not your passion. And you are one of those 50% that risk closure within 2 to 5 years. Some of you have already been there. Some of you started your nonprofit, you paid for it as long as you could 2 years, 3 years, 4 years more. And then you had to close your doors. Am I right? Am I right? What is the benefit of getting the readiness assessment that I've created? Now, I've created a lot of things. For those of you guys who are new to me, for those of you guys who are new to me, for those of you guys who are new to me, I am an author of many books. I write books, I write brochures, I write guides, I write things to help you really take your organization to the next level, right? So I've written many books. My first book was The Guide to Grant Writing, right? This was my first book. My second book was Guide to Fundraising Success. I mentioned that I'm a professional fundraiser. My third book was Nonprofit Startup to Sustainability. Then I was a part of a book group called the Blacks in Nonprofits, the Grant Writing Edition. I'm a grant writer, I'm a professional fundraiser, and I wrote the components on the budget. And then I wrote a book on how to raise money for your nonprofit organization every single day of the year, right? As a professional fundraiser, your job is to ensure that money is coming into your organization. Why? To cover your expenses, right? So we need the money to cover the expenses. Now, it's not technically about the money, other than we need the money, but it's more about how do we share our value. Our donors, our funders, our supporters, they give us their money. Whose money? Their money. Whose money? Their money. Whose money? Their money. They give us their money because they value what we do, right? So it's your ability to articulate your value, right? This is life-changing information. Hey, Edith, I see you. This is life-changing information. Will you guys please like this? Please like this live. I am 2 subscribers away from being at 1,000 subscribers. 2 subscribers away from being at 1,000 subscribers. So your subscriptions are very, very helpful, and I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate your comments, your likes. I appreciate your sharing and your subscribing. My goal in this year of the 2025 is to ensure that as many organizations as possible has this information so that their organizations can grow and thrive and deliver the program that is needed to benefit their communities. Okay. So your help with that is really important. So in my nonprofit readiness assessment, it's only $45. Organizations that are able to respond to what I share with them, you are 3 times more likely, 3 times more likely, 3 times more likely to secure funding, being fully funded the first year. Now, I've got leaders who can attest that within 90 days of being with me, their organizations are already raising money. Within 90 days of working with me, in less than 90 days, they are already bringing in money. Okay. So when you are ready, when you are have assessed and evaluated your readiness, you are 3 times more likely to be fully funded the first year. Now, what's the reverse of that? That if you're not ready, you're likely going to close your doors within 2 to 3 years. You're going to spend for everything out of your pocket. You're going to run out of money and you're going to have to close your doors. No, I don't have any donors, Jen. I don't have any funders, Jen. I don't have any partners, Jen. I don't have a board member that works, right? Where do you buy the book? I'm on the board and we need it. I also lead a ministry at our church and we want to turn it into an official nonprofit. So if you go to, let me see if I can put it here for you. I will put it in. Oh, wait. Can I do it over here? I will put it in the description. I will respond. Will it let me to respond? Hold on. I will respond to your comment with the link of how to get it. Let me tell you guys this. Today, what is today? Today is March 27th. Today is March 27th. I did a training on Monday on how to start a nonprofit with no money. How to start a nonprofit with no money. Okay. Everyone that gets the readiness assessment, it's only $45. It's about 20 some odd pages. And at the end of it, It lists all the steps, the step by steps to filing your paperwork, what getting your name, going to the state, getting your bylaws, picking your board, putting together your job descriptions. It gives you a step by step to really setting up the structure of the nonprofit. That's included in the nonprofit readiness assessment. Okay. Um, and I will give you the how to start the nonprofit with no money video and training. It comes with a handout as well. So for today, March 27th, if you get the nonprofit startup guide, I will give you that training. Okay. That will be my gift to you. All right, here we go. Let's keep going through this. All right. So when you have gone through the readiness assessment and you are able to respond and you're able to be clear about these things I know, these things I don't know, the things that you don't know are the things that you need to focus on, right? To be ready. Up to 40% higher donor retention. What does that mean? That means you are 40% more likely to get a donor and get a second gift. Did you hear what I said? How many of you have gotten a donor, one donation, and then never got a second donation? Jen, they gave last year, but they didn't give this year. Jen, they made a one-time donation, but they never donated again. That's because you don't know donor cultivation. That has nothing to do with the donor. But when you are able to what? Communicate, when you're able to clarify, when you're able to engage with the donor properly, then you are 40% more likely to get the second gift. Now, what happens when you don't do that and you get a one time gift? 67% of donors say that they don't make a second gift because they were not cultivated properly. They make a one time gift, but they're not inspired to make a second gift. They made a one time gift, but they are not inspired to make a second gift. And that has nothing to do with money. That has everything to do with I did not know what to say. I didn't know what they needed. I'm just trying to make sure that you all, what you start, you're able to keep going. Okay. When you have done the readiness assessment, you are going to have a stronger board and build donor trust. Stronger board. Not just your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat, your fish. Y'all, it breaks my heart. The number of people that said, Jen, I got my board, and then I got to replace my board. And then, Jen, my board's not working. And then, Jen, I got to find new board members. Can you imagine how much time that takes? And in the meantime, you're doing everything. You're running the board, you're running the program, you're raising the money, you're doing the communicate, you're doing everything. You're doing everything. Why? Because you weren't positioned to build strong board recruitment in the beginning. You were so busy trying to get that piece of paper. And the person said, just put 4 or 5 names down. You can change it later. You've wasted time, right? When you have completed the readiness assessment, you have increased ability to measure impact and show results. Your donors and your funders are going to want to see results. Did you hear what I said? You want to show them results. That's going to motivate and inspire the second gift. You want them to see that your program has impact. You want them to see the evidence that your program works. So, with and through knowing what is it that's involved in that readiness assessment, what is it involved in showing impact? That's how you get the second gift. Okay. Why is this assessment ideal for those of you that are new nonprofits? Because this goes beyond the paperwork. Many people who will tell you start your nonprofit and do the paperwork. Go do your paperwork, go get a website, and go get a website and go, start a social media page. I don't know what to put on the social media page though, right? Get a social media page, get a website, get a QR code, and start your program. But that does not prepare you to get funding. Just doing the bare minimum to get your 501c3 status does not prepare you to get funding. It doesn't prepare you to be compliant to the IRS either, right? Jen, what is the 990? Jen, what do I put on the 990? Jen, what am I supposed to say on the 990? I don't know what to say, Jen. I want to make sure that you all know what it is that is required and requested by the funder and the donor, right? The readiness assessment is designed to provide you a roadmap for growth and sustainability. It's going to help you to prevent wasting time and money for premature filing. I can't tell you how many people say to me, Jen, I got my nonprofit, Jen, I filed my paperwork, but then I had to let it lapse. Or I filed my paperwork, Jen, and I haven't done anything with it. I filed my paperwork, Jen, but I don't know what to do next. You have spent time and money, and you have done that prematurely. Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you know anyone that has done that? Right? We don't have time to waste. We don't have money to waste. Can we just start this thing the right way the first time? Can we do it the right way? Can we know what is expected of us as the executive director? Can you know what is expected of you as the CEO when you start your nonprofit? Because going in not knowing is not going to be an excuse. That's not the reason you don't have any money. It's I didn't know. I didn't know how to raise it. I didn't know how to put a plan together for it. I didn't know what was expected. I'm just trying to help you to prevent wasting time and money on premature filings. All right. This is my final thing. Successful and sustainable nonprofits are built on preparation, not passion. I'm going to say that again. Sustainable fundable nonprofits are built on preparation, not passion. Before you spend money on filing, before you spend money on staff, before you spend money on program, take the time to assess your readiness. Take the time to assess, what do I know about the nonprofit? What do I know about running the nonprofit? What do I know about funding the nonprofit? What do I know about growing the nonprofit? What do I know about building the nonprofit? What do I know about marketing my nonprofit? What do I know about sustaining the nonprofit? I want you to be ready. I want you to be successful. I want you to be prepared. I want you to be competitive. I want you to be competitive because you are competing for funding, okay, with other organizations that know how to clarify, that have already assessed their readiness. My Nonprofit Readiness Society will guide you to launch with confidence and clarity. Everything that's in it, all the questions that are in it are designed to help you to plan, to strategize, to be um, to be clear about what is to be expected from your nonprofit, how you're going to grow it and sustain it. And let me say this, for those of you that get the nonprofit readiness assessment, I will even do a Q&A with you. I will pull everyone together who's gone through it, and I will offer you a Q&A, right? Where you can say, Jen, I read this, but I'm not clear about this. Jen, can you explain this? I'm one of those people that want to make sure that whatever you get of mine, you can use it, okay? It's only $45. It's only $45. And I'm going to put the information in the description. I'm going to put those of you that want the readiness assessment, say me in the chat, say me in the chat, say me in the chat, and I will be happy to give you the link to get it. Okay? I'll be happy to get you to give you the link to get it. I hope that this information has been helpful. I hope that this information has been clear. I hope that this information resonates with those of you that are looking not just to start your nonprofit, but to grow your nonprofit, but to sustain your nonprofit. Okay. And if you are listening to this on my podcast, thank you so very much for being here. Nonprofit Nuggets with Jennifer Yarbrough, my podcast has been recognized as one of the top um, fundraising nonprofits podcasts in the country. I'm very, very excited about that acknowledgement. And for those of you that tune into my podcast, thank you so very much. For those of you that follow and listen through my YouTube as well, thank you very much. And for those of you that also listen through my other channels and follow me on my other channels, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest in this subject matter. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your shares. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your engagement. I hope that what I share with you is meaningful. I hope that it is relatable. I hope that it's clear. My hope for you is that this be the year that you not just start your nonprofit, but that you know how to grow it, that you know how to fund it, that you know how to sustain it, that you know how to bring in donors, that you know how to generate enough revenue that your program is able to expand, that you are able to be paid for the work that you do and to hire a team. And the only way that that happens is that you've got to be able to show and share with your donors, with your community, the value of your work, not the passion for your work. And the tools that I create are to be affordable for those of you that start and say, Jen, I can't afford coaching, or Jen, I can't afford this, or I can't afford that. $45. And you've got access to all of my trainings that further explain what's in the readiness assessment. And let me tell you this, it's going to cost you a whole lot more, 1,000 times more, to start your nonprofit without properly assessing your readiness. Okay? I want to help you. I want to help you to be the best nonprofit in your community. I want your nonprofit to be the preference of your donors and funders. I want them to see, to know, and to connect to the importance of your mission, and that they would invest in it so that your organization can continue to do the work that is life-changing and transforming of not just to the people who are in your nonprofit, in your program, but who are also in your community. All right. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your shares, all of those things. And I will see you all next time. All right. Bye.